But I've hooked some big bass on it, and I've had my drag locked to the point that a 40-inch bass was not pulling a click of drag until I loosened up a little bit. But that was more on the reason I loosened up, and this is something I really want to talk about, is fish your drag as heavy as possible. But once you get the bass out of the danger zone, it's just when you have your drag that tight, you're begging for the bass to shake your hook. And so you want to loosen up once you get the bass out of the danger zone. And what I mean by that is you cast your eel right up next to a rock. If that thing lands in the water and a 40-pound bass is sitting right there, your eel lands in the water and it looks up and it sees an eel swimming, it's going to pound that, you're going to hook into it, and then it's going to run right behind your rock. And you're screwed if you don't have heavy drag, and you can get that bass up to the surface of the water and turn its head so that it only can run out. And that's why you fish so heavy drag in the rocks. Such heavy drag, sorry. And that's why I fish such heavy drag at almost all times. And then when I'm finding okay, so say I'm reeling in my eel and I'm in a spot that is not dangerous to me. Like I can let the bass run 50 yards in almost any direction and feel confident that, that bass is not going to get me in anything. I can just let it, tire itself out, because granted, you want to fight a bass hard and you want to get them in quick. But if you get a bass in instantly, like if I hooked into that bass and flipped him out of the water, because he only ate 10 feet away from me, so if I just burned him in, because if you think about it, a bass has to gain traction into the water to swim. But if you keep its head out of the water, and this is a thing, like if you really want to land a big fish and you're you're fishing with heavy drag, and the bass eats it 10 feet away from you, and you have the ability to get that thing right by your feet, don't let it turn. Just reel them straight in, and you'll get them right to your feet, and then you should be able to leader them and grab them. But the bass is going to be extremely green, and then that can be a nightmare because the bass can thrash around, it can toss you in the water. Believe me, like if you grab onto a bass with a boga grip and it's 40 pounds and that thing's green and you're teetering on the edge of a rock and it thrashes hard, it's going to launch you into the water.